The Self-Administered Medication Management, or SAMM program, is the medication assistance program used here at Ruggles Assisted Living. The Self-Administered Medication Management Program assures for accurate and efficient self-administration of medications for residents. All residents at Ruggles Assisted Living will be assessed upon moving in and reassessed at least every 6 months regarding their ability to participate in the SAMM program. This assessment is completed by a program nurse. This assessment includes assessing the resident's ability to request a PRN medication. All residents who are on SAMM will be listed on the Master SAMM assignment. This must be copied at the beginning of each shift. The SAMM assignment may be changed many times through the day, so it is critical that a new copy is made before beginning each and every shift. Do not keep your SAMM assignment from a previous day simply because you are working the next day. Do not assume you know the SAMM assignment. You must always review the assignment at the time of the SAMM reminder. Some residents may be newly on an inhaler or an eye drop, so always read the assignment for each SAMM reminder. SAMM can only be done at the assigned times with a small window 1 hour before or after to give the medications. SAMM can only be performed in the resident's apartment. Medications cannot be brought to a resident in any other location without explicit instruction from a program nurse. An important element of the SAMM program is following the 5 R's of medication assisting, which are the right resident or medication on time card, the right day, the right time, the right route, and the right documentation. It is important to remember that when a resident moves into our facility and agrees to the SAMM program, they sign a SAMM agreement which guarantees staff will be adhering to the 5 R's of assisting. This is also a requirement of the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, or EOEA. And with everything else you do at Ruggles, be sure to wash your hands before and after all tasks. When entering a unit to complete SAMM, please be sure to make sure that the name of the resident you are with is the same as the name on the medications you are about to assist with. Make sure that the day and time on the card is the same as what is listed on your SAMM assignment. Remind the resident that it is time to take their medication before you open the medication package to prevent any waste. You must observe the resident while they take all of their medications. You cannot leave medications of any kind for residents to take later. Before the end of your day, your documentation must be done. Aside from the Eaton MOT cards, you can assist with pre-fill boxes, so read your assignments carefully. If anything looks out of the ordinary, feel free to ask your nursing supervisor. If off hours, call the on-call and they can try to assist. Residents may ask you to read the name of the medications, which is something that you are allowed to do. You can also show residents their medication on-time cards. Any more specific questions as to why they are on a medication, you can direct the resident to ask their program nurse. As mentioned before, anything out of the ordinary will require you to report the findings to a nurse. Here are some examples of when to report things. If the resident does not have medications for the assigned date and time, if the medication on-time cards do not match the SAMM assignment, if the resident refuses their medication, or if the days before are still in the bubble package, or if future days are missing. Documentation is extremely important. It must be completed before you leave for the day. If for some reason you feel documentation may not be completed, you need to let your supervisor know in advance. A documentation will consist of a Y for yes or an N for no. A Y means that everything on the SAMM assignment went according to plan. And N means something or all things did not go according to what is listed on the SAMM assignment. In some cases, you may need to document a Y/N, but we will get into this scenario on another slide. If documenting an N, you will turn this page over. This is the back of the SAMM medication documentation form. Using the day of the week and the medication reminder time, you will use the key listed above to explain why an N is documented. This needs to occur each time a SAMM reminder is not done. 1 is something we do not want to see documented. It says, when you arrived at the assigned time to do the reminder, the resident was not in the apartment. You must go and find the resident or find out where they are. Are they at an appointment, family member's home? Are they refusing to come upstairs to take their medication? If any of those are true, you should use a different number, like 5. 2 is when you arrived at the assigned time to do the reminder, the resident says, I already took my medication. In this instance, you should check the medication on time card to see if this is true. Check the current and future dates to see if there is a chance that the resident decided to take their medication on their own. If nothing is out of the ordinary, remind the resident again that it is time to take their medication. If the resident continues to refuse, document and let the nurse know. 3 is when you arrived at the assigned time to do the medication reminder, the resident refuses to take their medication. 4 is when you arrive at the assigned time to do the reminder, the appropriate dose was not available. This must be reported to the nurse, either if they are in the office or via a note that you leave for them. Do not punch out the last dose of the medication on time card unless you have permission from the program nurse to do so. In many cases, residents have alternating medications, so they may be on a different medication on the last day of the cycle. This is also the case if medications drop on the floor. Do not punch out the last day of the month. Simply notify the program nurse. 5 is other reason which must be explained in detail. This can be where you note if the resident is in the hospital, staying with a family member, or if there is a partial dose given. In the case of a partial dose, for example, if the resident took all pills but refused their inhaler, you must write Y/N and then on the back of the page document 5 and write refused inhaler only or refused red pill. Report this to the program nurse. Just to stress this again, there are no reasons that you should not have your documentation completed by the end of your shift. If you are concerned about completing your documentation on time, you can leave a note for your supervisor or call the office phone of your supervisor and leave a message. Our extensions are 24 and 23. Because documentation is so important, if you have more than 8 missing documentations in a month, you will receive a written warning. If this happens another month, you will be placed on progressive discipline, and it is noted on your annual performance evaluations. So please be sure to document prior to leaving for the day. We are going to go through different instructions for assisting in the SAMM program. For all of these steps, you should knock on the door, Remind the resident that it is time to take their medication, confirm that they are ready, wash your hands, and confirm the name of the resident matches the medication you are assisting with. After assisting with anything, please remember to wash your hands and document your actions. When assisting with tablets or capsules, you should never alter them. We are not allowed to crush or split any medication. Do not touch the pills. Pour the pills directly from the Med on Time card into a small cup or onto a paper towel on a solid surface. Try not to put the pills directly into someone's hand, as some may drop on the floor. You must observe the resident taking all of their medication. Report anything out of the ordinary to the nurse. Some residents are resistant to taking their medication, so be sure to not look away while they are taking their medication to ensure they are not dropping their pills in the pocket, the trash, or down the sink. It is okay if the resident wants to take their medication in their recliner or in bed. Sometimes that is best if the resident has a tremor or is prone to dropping pills. Simply bring the pills over to them. Wash your hands and document. With liquid medications, be sure to shake the medication well if indicated. Have the resident pour the medication away from the label to save the label from any stains. Before the resident pours the medication, have the resident place the medication cup on a flat surface. Then the resident can pour it out. You can verbally remind a resident to stop pouring, but you cannot pour the liquid medication for them, and you cannot do hand over hand for liquid medications. If there is too much medication that has been poured out, you can instruct the resident to discard the excess amount, but not back into the bottle. You can ask a nurse to mark the medication cup to ensure that the correct dosage is being poured each time. If you find that a resident is struggling to pour medications on their own, let the nurse know, and we can figure something out for the resident. Please stay with the resident until they have ingested the whole dosage. Let the nurse know when the liquid medication is running low and needs to be reordered from the pharmacy. It is considered a loose medication, so it will not come automatically from the pharmacy. After completion, wash your hands and document. When assisting with eye medications, such as eye drops, be sure to read the SAMM assignment carefully. Eye drops are written in the order they should be given. After preparing to complete SAMM on the resident, ask the resident if they need hand-over-hand assistance. Have a clean tissue ready for each eye that will get a drop. Hand-over-hand assistance means that the resident holds the bottle while you hold their hand. While holding their hand, you must guide their hand to the area that the medication will be placed. The resident must dispense the medication. In the case of eye drops, have the resident tilt their head slightly back. Assist if needed to pull down the lower lid of the eye that you are assisting with. Then the resident must squeeze the drops from the bottle themselves. Do not have the resident rub their eyes, and be sure to wait 3 minutes between different eye drops. When assisting with the eye drops, remind the resident not to let the dispenser touch their eye or their eyelashes to avoid contaminating the medication bottle. When complete, place the eye drop bottle back into the original box. At the completion, wash your hands and document.